So the next item I spotted digging through the box was a couple of these spanner wrenches, and you guys who have followed some of my flea market find series know that I've been collecting these now for a while because, you know, I never used to use these ever. And then when I started working on the disassembly of the Handy and everything, I realized how important on older machinery these can be to have. So I asked about these and realized that I was going to get as many of these I wanted for 50 cents a piece. So I dug through and I ended up taking pretty much everything I found. This one right here is marked right on it, South Bend lathe. This one's just marked. This is just Armstrong 458. Not sure what that's marked. That's a little bit different one. Then I got this style. I don't have any of these yet. This style here, which is almost like an adjustable one, so that'll fit. It says 3/4-2. So I think maybe that'll work on from 3/4 up to 2-inch. This little stamped steel one. And then this wrench here, it just looked to me like it's for a carriage locking bolt on a lathe, so I took that too. So I think I got 2, 4, 6, I got 7 here. Chances are I gave $3 for all of these. Then I started looking at, there were some taps in there, and came across a few taps. That one caught my eye. It's a pretty big, that looks like that's going to be a pipe. 3/4 14 NPT, so National Pipe Thread. That one there is a long shank on it. 5/8 NS16, I think it says. This is a Greenfield tap and die. There's a big coarse one there. What's that one? Made in the USA. There's another Greenfield. 7/8 9. These two were just like this in the box, held together with this plastic tie. It was kind of rusty. This is another 7/8 9. That's a something 8. It looks like that's 1-inch 8. Cut that off. This one says 1-8, so I think this is a 1-inch. This is interesting though, below it says 7/8 drill. So I guess that's telling you right on there to use a 7/8 drill bit for your hole. I don't think I've ever seen that on a tap where they actually tell you. Maybe they do that on the larger ones like this. This one, the 3/4. This is from the R&P Manufacturing Company of Worcester, Massachusetts. Oh, that's right here. It's local. 3/4 by 10. This one. Yeah, don't drop your taps. A couple small ones here. 3/4 by 16. This one, interestingly enough, is it's actually engraved on here by hand. 5/16 by 24. For some reason, that didn't have the size on it. So this guy took it upon himself to put it on there. And this is a 3/8 by 16. Don't know who makes this tap. This looks like, this says Bath on it. That's a Bath tap. This one caught my eye. Look how fine the threads are on that sucker. And this tap, it's got little bits of spot rust on it, but I'll tell you, this tap looks like it was never used. This is an R&N HSG tap, 21/32. 32 threads per inch. Wow, 21/32. That's doesn't strike me as a common tap. And then there was this little box here. Let's see if I can see on the tap who makes these. This is a card, 7/16-14.
and that's also 7/16-14. So this is a set, and believe it, typically when you have these sets of three, one is a bottoming tap where the threads go all the way out down to the bottom, and then one is, you know, like a starting tap. See, that one's got barely anything, and then it just progressively cuts more. So if you got a through hole, that's gonna be easy to do with that. If you got a blind hole, you're gonna need a bottoming tap like that one. And then, you know, ideally we would have had the third card tap to go in here, but that's probably still in the bottom of that box somewhere, and I didn't see it. And then one last tap, this one here, this box I spotted, and I was like, oh. And this says the Bay State Tap and Die of Mansfield, Massachusetts. And this is an NPT taper pipe tap, 1 3/4. And that also looks to be unused. And that's what it is. It's the Bay State 3/4 National Pipe Tap. So it's 1 space 3/4. So it's a 3/4 inch pipe tap. Wonder what that tap alone would run me to buy. So these probably ended up being for about 50 cents a piece, and then I probably didn't even count these. So I probably got like $1, $2, $3, $4. I probably gave $5 to that pile. Matter of fact, I know I gave $5 to that pile because I remember when we were discussing it, I actually had all of this stuff piled together, a lot of it, and we were going through, going back and forth. What ended up happening was I paid basically $25 for like all those spanner wrenchers, all of these dies, all the drill bits I'm about to show you, and a few other items in there. These are the drill bits. There were a lot more drill bits there, but I was a little particular about what I picked out because I've gotten a lot of drill bits. I get to the point now where I need to start cataloging them. But I picked them up basically if they looked like they were relatively unused, if they looked like they were, you know, in good shape, and you know, if they weren't too galled up on the shanks there. This one is this one's a nice long one. This one's a 17/32 W&B. This is a 33/64 W&B. This one spun in the truck at some point. Not too badly though. And this is a 33/64 W&B. So I'd venture to guess that this gentleman had a set of these at some point. This one looks like it spun pretty badly. Not quite sure why I grabbed that one. But I'm probably not going to even know. Oh, I can just barely make out. This one spun so badly I can't even read what that is size-wise. These two here, these have like that black oxide coating on them. These both look very, very good condition-wise. This is a TRW 1/2 inch, and this is a TRW 1/2 inch. These two are identical. This is a UTD 31/64. UTD. Never heard of that name. There's a good size one there. Step shank 11/16. HS USA. Not sure who makes that, but that looks to be in excellent shape. And then this one, really long one, and it's got this tang on the end here. I actually do not see a size on this, so I can't tell you what this one is. So I think that ended up being about $5 to that. Then I got this pile here for $5. This is a wedge for removing a chuck, for removing a Morse taper. I've got, you know, quite a few of these now.
This one, I probably already have this size. This looks like this is a shop-made one. There's no markings on it. Got a nice punch here.
This is an LS Starrett punch, 1/4 inch.
That's a nice punch. I do like my punches.
Here's a Snap-on 1/4 inch punch.
Hey, I think this might be the second Snap-on tool that I own now. Make that 3. Another Snap-on 5/32 punch. Oh boy, I'm living the high life now. Got these little envelopes here actually have tiny drill bits in them. Bride twist, the number 400 general purpose polished flutes, number 54s, which is .0550 inch drill bits. I do not have many drill bits that small. Those are pretty small. Number 53s, it says number 400 wire gauge. This is 400W. That's different. Huh. .0595. And then this little package here is number 55s. Union card. These are a little bigger. Alright, so I got these tiny drill bits. The only milling cutter that I found in all of those boxes, and I normally wouldn't bother with it except that it's got an interesting shape to it. Might come in handy. I believe that's a dovetailing cutter.
This is a HSG, FT, blah blah blah. Not sure what these numbers mean on here. I see a 10-25-60.
I wonder if one of those means 60 degree. I don't know. But I don't even know if I got a collet big enough to hold that. But I do have that. I do have one of those holders that'll hold this with that'll adapt it to R8. So I could use that in my mill if I needed it. Slitting saw. Teeth look good on it. Center drill. A little bit of rust on it. Other than that, looks okay. What size is this?
I think it's a number 6.
Morse taper adapter.
2 to 3. CTD.
Well, if it is Morse, then it's a 2 to a 3. I've got a few of these. And, you know, I get the whole pile for $5, so. Now this is a nice little find. This is a number 2 Morse taper arbor with number 3 Jacobs taper. So this is a brand new, got some light rust on there, but this is a brand new arbor for a Jacobs chuck. So this part right down here is a number 3 Jacobs taper. This is what presses into the back of a Jacobs chuck, and then that's going to give you a Morse taper number 2. Right? Is that what I said? Yeah, number 2 Morse taper. So I may never end up using that, but I think these are expensive to buy.
Oh, and this is made by...
What's this made by? Oh, duh. It says right on it. Jacobs. Jacobs chucks written all over that. And this piece of steel. Never know when you might need to make something. And then buying all that stuff, I got him to throw in these because I pulled a lot of these out of some of these spots. So these are clearly little homemade holders that the guy had made. And I thought, well, it might come in handy. So, you know, some of the bigger mills can go in there. Of course, that's for drill bits or whatever. What was fun was I was there with my 9 and my 10-year-old, and they were helping Dad by picking through the boxes and pulling stuff out. They kept asking me, what's this? What's this? What's this? So then my 10-year-old pulls this out. Daddy, what's this?
and it caught my eye, and I immediately was interested in it. And the young guy who was running the booth there, he didn't know what it was, and I didn't know what it was. But I said, well, put that aside with my pile because I'm interested in taking a chance on it. So what ended up happening was when I put that whole pile of stuff together and everything, and we were going back and forth, I was trying to get it for 20 bucks. And what was bothering him was this, because he really wanted to get $5 for this. And I said, you know, I was going to only give him $2 or $3 for this, take a chance. But I figured I was getting such a good deal on everything else up to that point that I said, let's do the 25. So I figure I'm into this for $5. What is this? Well, this sure looks like a Morse taper, a big one. So that tends to indicate to me that this was probably supposed to go into the tailstock on a large lathe. And then this is supposed to hold something, but I don't know what. Okay guys, so here's what we got. We got this kind of deal here. There's 2 slots in here. And then there's these 2 outer slots. Almost looks to me like you're supposed to be able to turn this outer part right here. See this knurled part? Like you're supposed to turn this outer part and maybe line these slots up with these slots, insert something, and then turn this to lock it. But I don't know what. And then, like I said, I'm pretty sure that's a Morse taper to go into a tailstock on a lathe. Or it could go into some other machine, I guess. But so that's, I don't know if this is like a really big end mill holder. In other words, a while back I showed you guys some of these big old mills that I saved from the scrapper. You know, whether or not that's supposed to be like a hold, whether this is a holder for one of these, and then this would go into an old mill, maybe even a horizontal mill. Well, that fits in there nice, but what would lock that? Nothing to indicate to me that this has any kind of clamping ability to lock down on that. So I'm thinking whatever goes in there would be that diameter, but would have maybe some kind of pins or something on it that would lock it in. Now there is a name. This is a Wizard size B4 Mikrosky Tool Company, Meadville, Pennsylvania. Well, I'm going to write that down and Google that. So this is the last item that I bought off of that particular vendor. It's a little homemade holder right here. Somebody stenciled on it 1/8 letters, heavy duty. And these are punches. And the guy said he usually gets 4 for $1 on these. But I said, how about if I take the whole set, $5? And he said, yeah, that's what I figured. So I got this for $5. I thought that was a good deal. Just the day before, when I was at the other flea market that I frequent, there was a guy there who had a set of these letters that had quite a bit of rust on them. And he wanted $15 for the set, and I didn't even inquire whether or not he'd come down from that because I just wasn't that interested in it. But then when I saw these for $5, I was like, oh, good. I checked. It's a complete set, A through Z, with the period. So I ended up getting these for less than 25 cents a piece. So now, if I really am in the mood to stamp something onto something, I've got a set. And these are marked on the side with the letter that it is, and then also the size of the shank, 1/8 inch, and then as far as the brand goes, there's a very distinctive logo. It's a heart with a slanted couple lines and then a unique looking W is on there, and they're all marked that way. So I'm not sure who made these, but it's got a W inside of a heart. So if anybody knows that name, I'd be interested to know. You know what, maybe this isn't a homemade holder. That's stenciled really nicely. 1/8 inch letters, heavy duty. All right, so that was the end of what I ended up buying from that particular dealer, and I walked out of there with these thin plastic bags tripled up, and that was a lot of weight. And I ran into a guy that I know from the other flea market, and he sets up at this new flea market that I went to now, and we got to talk, and I explained to him what I was buying, and he says, geez, he says, he said, I got a whole bunch of these carbide, these cutters, I think they're carbide. He says, we cleaned out our place, guy had all kinds of machinery and everything. He said, is that something you'd be interested in? I said, sure, I'd love to take a look. He says, oh yeah, these are real expensive. Of course, everything's, real expensive. But anyways, it intrigued me. I was hoping he had some carbide end mills. The way I was trying to describe them to him, he seemed to think that that's what I was talking about. So he said, I actually got them with me. I got them out in the truck. I didn't bring them in because I didn't think anybody here would be interested in them. So he said he'd bring them in and meet me over at his booth later. So on my way out, I went back over to his booth, and he brought me over the box.